This is the first video of a brand new YouTube series I am starting. So in this series, I'm basically just going to, on a monthly basis, just talk through the charts on my backtesting. So what I like to do personally, at the end of each month after I traded the market live, I like to go back on TradingView and basically backtest that entire market for the month, because that gives me an idea if the trades that I took in the live market fit my plan as highly as it would fit my plan in my backtesting. But remember, when you do backtesting, you're trading without emotion. Now, throughout these videos, they are going to be quite long, but throughout these videos, you are going to, get a lot of tips while I'm talking through the charts. I'm going to give advice. I'm going to talk about things that I see. And, if you are a price action trader, or if you're interested in price action trading, this would be a very good baseline to just see the way that I trade and just get an idea of what I'm talking about. So just enjoy this backtesting video. So at the end of each month, as I said, this month that I just went through is May month on the Aussie dollar, Australian dollar versus the US dollar. And that's the Forex pair that I went through in this video. So maybe next month I might go through AU, or maybe I might go through EU. It all depends. I'll decide at the end of the month. But enjoy the video. Take notes if you want to. And it's just a nice chat where I talk through the markets. And I don't really overcomplicate my trading. And you'll see that throughout this video. So just enjoy it, and please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss the next video that's coming out in, let's say, the end of June, beginning of April. I will then backtest the month of June. So guys, let's jump onto the charts and have a look at the Aussie dollar. Okay, traders, so we're on the charts, and this is AU. So you'll see my May results for 2025 were 9.3% in total profit on the pair. I had a total of 7 trades, and I had 4 wins and 3 losses. So that's about, let's say, 1.5 trades per week on average. So it just shows you that you don't have to be in the market the entire time. And the thing is, I know with the way that I trade, this is on average how many trades I will take on a pair in a month. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but the average is around there. So this was a good month, 9.3% on AU, very, very good month. So what I like to do is, as I've already explained, I like to go back and then backtest that entire month and see, if I made any mistakes, if I could have improved, if I missed any trades, if there's trades that were high probability that, maybe in the moment with my emotions trading live, that I did not take the setup. So I'm going to quickly go through the month with you guys, and then at the end, we're going to compare how close we get to this result. So, if I'm spot on with this result, then that means I followed my plan throughout the month. I really traded well. And if I'm off a little bit on this, I'll see where the difference is. Now, just to get this video started, where do I look for, where do I trade and backtest? So I basically use TradingView, and there's just an alert that went off. That's basically a crossing on one of my setups I'm looking for. So I look at that now because I know it's around in the next hour, there might be a setup that forms. So throughout the video, what I wanted to say was that, I use TradingView to backtest. So I click on this replay tool, and then you can select the bar you want to go to, and you can go far back in time and basically just click on this little continuation button, and that clicks through candle by candle, bar by bar. Now, when I do that, I then track the trades on a sheet. It's like a Google sheet. So let me quickly take you there. So this is how the Google sheet looks. You'll see this is actually for my community, but I'm giving it away for free on this YouTube video. So you can just click download in the description, or click on the link in the description, and it would take you to this backtesting journal. And on the top left, it says file. When you click there, you can just say make a copy. And after you made a copy, you can rename it to whatever you want to name it. And then you can edit this document. Unfortunately, looking at it, you cannot edit it. But as soon as you make a copy, you can then edit it. So I then type in the data entered, the time, the data exited, the time I exited the trade, the pair I'm trading, the setup I'm looking for, my risk percentage, my stop loss pips, my TP pips, a screenshot of the trade, comments that I have throughout the trade, any remarks on the trade, my percentage gain, and was it a win or was it a loss. So a lot of these are just drop down arrows, so that also makes it very easy. And then on the statistics, you will just have to type in what pair you're trading, the year that you're backtesting. For example, I know this is 2025, but this is only going to be 1 month. So I have another separate document, my personal one, where I track all of this, but I'm just showing you this for the sake of this video. And then you also see you can put in the total profit will always calculate automatically, but the monthly you will be able to put that in manually. And you can also put in your consecutive wins and consecutive losses in manually, and you can put in your total wins, total losses for the months as well, individually. So yeah, so that's how this backtesting spreadsheet works. So let's jump onto the charts. Let's see how close I can get to this percentage. I'm going to sometimes play through and fast forward on certain bits where the market's very range bound. Every time there's a trade, I'm going to then pause and talk you through what I saw in the market and why I'm taking that position. Not exactly step by step, but I'm going to give you an idea of the style that I have, which I trade. So let's get started with the backtesting. Let me put that one side and let's get into a full screen. So immediately when I look at the chart, when I open it, so you'll see this is now the 30th of April, and then this is the new month, the 1st of May on a Thursday. So when I look at the chart, immediately I can see we are in a ranging phase. We are not trending in any direction. If I have to draw two lines, we are definitely more range bound than anything else. So when we are ranging, I look for something called a leopard setup. Now, this is a setup I teach my community, and it's a very simple setup, and it's basically a liquidity sweep setup, and that's my range bound strategy I trade. So I only trade this on one time frame. I keep it very, very simple. I'm not chopping and changing through time frames, and there's no indicators or anything. As you guys have seen on my previous videos, I am a price action trader, meaning there's no indicators. I read the charts for what it is, and I'll make a decision based on what I see. So immediately, first thing I can see is there was a big turn of momentum over here. The reason being the market shot up and reversed over there, showing me sellers are jumping in the market. Same here at the bottom, buyers are jumping in the market. So when that happens, I know that people are putting their stop losses in that area, and that's what I call liquidity. And that is where liquidity builds in the market. So, basically I'm waiting for this area to get broken, and I then want my leopard signal to enter the position. So I'm going to quickly click through, and then we'll just see if we get a position here. You also see I like to trade with a most recent high and low. The reason for that is it gives me a clear sign that, in which the phase the market is. When we basically keep breaking the highs and retracing, I know that we're in an ascending nature. When the market, moves sideways with a high and low, breaks it, retraces, breaks it, retraces, I know that we are in a sideways price action. So it tells me a lot about what's currently happening in the market. So what I see currently is I like this break. I like that I can see that it's broken into this area of liquidity. And I just want to see my leopard setup form. And that is basically my entry signal for my leopard, where I would then place my entry with my stop loss and take profit. So this is a set and forget strategy. I set it and I forget about it. So as soon as I enter the position, if it hits my stop loss, it goes up, hits me, it's fine. I only risk 1% per trade. Always risk 1% per trade. So, basically, if it goes against me, I'm out. If it goes to my take profit, I made a nice 3% profit. So let's see what the market now does. So this is 6 in the morning. Very important with backtesting. You need to check the time and day. So for me, one of my rules are I do not trade on NFP. So that's the first Friday of each month. So I know the next day, on this Friday, it is the next day. I'm not trading on that day. But because this is still Thursday, 6 in the morning, I am taking this trade 100%. So now I can see I entered my position, and I1 and RC, you can then see immediately after a few hours, take profit was hit. So I'm not going to track all of this on my sheet. I'll go type that in on my personal sheet after this video. But you know what you would do is you would now go to this spreadsheet and type in the day you entered, the time, and etc, etc, etc. So let's go back. So this was a nice trade. I like to put that to the back so it just looks clearer. And now I just trail my high and low. And you know, that was a very good start to the month. I can remember this trade. I did take it. And it was a beautiful 3% position. So the next area I'm looking at is I can see the market is still trending. So, still ranging, sorry. So when the market's still ranging, I want to now see what's the next area of interest. And I like targeting the larger ones. You know, I don't look at these small recent shifts in momentum. I like looking at the bigger areas. So I just want to clear this up a bit. Sorry there, I played through price a little bit quickly, but this was also another valid setup for me. So this is a trade that I would definitely take. So, you know, I can already see I played it but through a little bit quickly, but that's fine. I'm still going to place the position so you guys can see it. Okay, so this is another trade that I'd look for, another leopard setup. Unfortunately, I played through a little bit quickly, but I still want to go back and just quickly go through this position because this is definitely a high probability trade for me. You know, same setup, following my same plan, set and forget strategy. And I already saw this one didn't work out, but I just want to play through it anyway. But it's a very high probability trade. It fit my plan 100%. Unfortunately, it hit stop loss and it took me out for 1%. So nothing wrong with that. Followed my plan. And, you know, the biggest thing in trading is just risk management and following your plan and following your edge, because it will play out over time. You know, out of 100 trades, as long as you end up on top, you are a profitable trader. So that's always my mindset. I always think over a large sample size, am I profitable? So not that I'll ever take 100 losses, but I'm just saying that that's supposed to be your mindset. That, you know, when you see a setup constantly form and you're confident in your strategy, you just need to follow that and stick to your rules. You can now see that was NFP and now it's the new Monday. Sorry about that. But you just need to follow your rules, stick to your plan, and then let your edge play out in the market. So you can see we broke this area of liquidity. I just don't like that wick. So I'm going to sit on my hands for this one. This one doesn't 100% fit my leopard setup. So let's carry on with price action. As you can see, the market now moved into this ascending type of price action. You know, when it ascends, we can easily just carry on ascending, or the market can just move to the downside. So that's a nice thing about trading price action. You know, just keep it simple, one time frame. I'm not looking at too much, and I'm just clicking through the charts. So anyway, very ascending at the moment. Let's see what happens next. So as you can see, that was a weird, very weird candle there. Probably like New York open. So as I click through price, I just keep on identifying areas that show me that, you know, the market is reversing. Like you can see, all of these areas are areas where the market is changing direction. So those are all areas of interest to me. So they interest me, and I want to see what price action does when it moves into those areas. So this is another one of my leopard setups, but you know, I just did not like the wicks on this break of this liquidity area here on top. So I did not like that at all. Another thing I didn't like was just the market is like breaking and retracing out of this, and we had a bit of an impulsive move to the upside, which is a bit of a warning sign to me. So this is a trade I'd rather sit on my hands on. So let's carry on through price action. We had this bit of a push to the upside, sweeping this liquidity, but you know, the market basically broke it and then retraced, showing me we are struggling to break out of a ranging phase. We're not really trending at the moment. We are just breaking this liquidity areas and retracing. So I want to now see what the market does next. So let's quickly carry on through price. Okay, so the market's been quiet the past few days. So you always have to see, okay, it's been from Friday to Thursday. So this entire week so far on the Aussie dollar, there has not been a setup. Now that's the thing with backtesting, when you backtest, you go through charts so quickly, and when you trade the live market, you can tend to become impatient. So what I like to do is whenever I feel impatient in the live market, I just go to the charts and I backtest, because that just gets that urge of trading out of my system, if I can say it like that. Not that I want to be in the markets the entire time, but sometimes that when you go through a week and you don't take a trade, or the markets are not giving you the setups you're looking for, you can still have an input to improving yourself by just backtesting. So just backtesting or naked charting the charts. Naked charting is basically just where you identify certain trends in the market. When the market descends, does it move in that direction? Does it reverse? Just by reading clean price action. So, you just always have to have input in the market. I'm not saying you must trade every single day, but what I'm just saying is whenever you start feeling like you're starting to look for average setups, you need to understand that you need to rather backtest and get it out of your system, if I can say it in that way. So now I can see we've been very descending. We're descending, breaking the lows, retracing, breaking the lows, retracing, breaking the lows, retracing. We had this large wick at the bottom. Now wicks usually show me that the market is going to reverse or the market is going to start ranging. But because I see this descending type of nature, getting tighter and tighter, I'm looking for one of my reversal setups I call a buffalo setup. So this is a very high probability trade for me, especially on this pair. So this is a trade that I like to take as a reversal. I just want to adjust my entry point a little bit, just be 1 pip above that. And fixed stop loss. And this is actually a strategy that I trade, that I just trail my stop loss while it's moving. So let's see if we get tapped in. As we can see, we literally got tapped in by 1 pip. So this is a trade that I'm currently in. I just want to quickly mark this out as well, where we got involved. So now let's see what the trade does. So this gives me a sign that I can now reduce some risk on this trade. So let's quickly see. I usually trade at about 2 pips below the low. So I just want to quickly put that at 8 pips. And as you can see, I'm not taken out of the position. So after I'm taken out, this was a 8 pip loss. So that's about, let's say, 0.66% that I lost on this position. I'll just say minus 0.7 with spread and commission and all that kinds of stuff. So that was a minus 0.7% loss for me. But that's fine, because I followed my plan, stuck to my rules, and when I see a setup appear, I'm going to take it every single time. So I'm just identifying my shifts, because I can immediately see we want to range now. The reason being is we broke this high, we retraced. We broke this low, we retraced, showing me a sign that the market wants to move into more of a ranging phase than a trending phase. So immediately we get an impulse up. Okay, so I just want to quickly talk about this trade. So this was a very high probability leopard setup for me. But I remember this trade throughout the month, and I did not take it because you'll see that it was Monday and it was before London opened. So I stay in South Africa and I do not enter any trades after a weekend before the London market opens. So if London does not open, I do not take any trades. Like, this is a textbook trading setup for me. A beautiful leopard setup. But the reason I'm not taking it is because of the London Open. So the next hour is London Open. So I first always want to see how does the market react after London Open. And then if I don't see any like hectic price spikes or anything in the hour after that, and we're still at this same point in price, I would then enter the position to the downside. But I first want to see what London Open does. And as we could see through the fast forwarding, London opened with this huge candle with a large wick on top and a large wick at the bottom. So that's why you need to have rules in place to trade safe. Trading is not about making money quickly, being in the market the entire time. Trading is about getting a plan, a strategy that works, setting rules to stick to that strategy, and just applying those rules with proper risk management. So anyway, I wasn't in that trade. And as you can see, the reason being is because I have been through this. I've been in trades where that happens to me. And that's when I started realizing I'm not going to trade before London Open. There's no way. The risk is not worth it. So I'd rather just wait for London Open, be a little bit more patient, and then see if there are any positions after that I could enter. Okay, so here's another nice leopard setup for me. Follows my plan to the T. So I'm taking another position over here. Entered the trade. Ranged around a bit, almost hit my stop loss. And as you can see, I can see it's late on a Monday. Fits my plan. No, how can I say, warning signs at all. And this was a very nice trade. So another 3%, set and forget. Beautiful trade. And it ticked all the boxes. So when I look at the trades, I have a checklist that I always go through, but it's like I've been trading this style for like the past 3 years. So, I go through that checklist in my mind real quick before I make a decision. But the thing is, because I've been trading it for so long, it's like a second nature for me. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And yeah, so that's basically it. So we can see now we have a very nice push to the upside, a bit of an impulse. And starting to show momentum to the upside. So I want to see a nice leg push past there, and then I might start looking for my trending type of setups. But, currently if I have to zoom out, we can still see the market is in a ranging phase. So let me just move that up again, and let's carry on through price. Here's actually another trade that I have in my, how can I say, my arsenal. So this is called a Rhino setup. So this is basically when I see a large, strong move in momentum, clearing liquidity, not showing me a shift in momentum to the upside. And this is a trade that I would take any day of the week if it fits my plan. So this is a beautiful trade. I cannot remember taking this trade throughout the month. So this is definitely a position that I missed. So let's see how this plays out. I just want to quickly put this at the right price. Put my correct stop loss. And I just want to see what happens and if we get tapped in. So this is a pending order. So there I'm tapped into the market. Then price starts moving to the downside. I just want to quickly move my high. So you can immediately see it does not look like we have momentum up. But, my fixed 1% stop loss, and there we get taken out of the trade. But this is a very nice trade. A very nice Rhino. It's usually a trade that I take when I want to see the market continue pushing to the upside, And this is usually a very highly profitable trade because I get to lock in profits as the trade moves up. As you can see, let's say it reversed there. I would lock in, and continue locking in profit. But as we can see, we cleared liquidity, showed momentum because we broke there, but then the market now reversed and took me out for that 1% loss. Where is my tool now? Let me just quickly put it back. I'm just going to leave it there. 12 pips. Let's put it back there. And that was a 1% loss. So as long as you always follow your plan throughout your backtesting, that's the most important. You need to trade here as close to live trading as humanly possible. So you need to follow your plan 100%. And when you take a trade on your backtesting, you need to stick to that trade. So let's continue through price. Broke this high, shifted, and now we're starting to move to the downside. So it's very clear. You can identify this in price. Usually when you see these ascending natures on AU, you immediately can think that price is going to start moving to the downside. Because I mean, look here, the small ascending channel, immediately price starts moving to the downside. So that's the power of forecasting and just reading price action. So let me carry on playing through price. So we had a nice impulse, but then we had a large wick at the end. And now it looks like the market just wants to start descending. So we descended and we got this bit of a shift. So this is another nice high probability swing trade for me. So I'm going to quickly enter this position, just setting it again on our set and forget strategy. So I entered the position now, and let's see how the market then plays out. As you can see, very nicely starts building momentum up, almost came down, tapped us out, but then ranged around and then went to take profit. So let's quickly just put this back and just add our note. So another nice 3% over there. And it looks like the market is actually starting to give us some momentum to the upside. So let's see what happens next with price action. I just want to mark out this area as well, because it is an area of interest to me. So there was a setup, but it did not fit my plan and checklist 100%. So let's carry on playing through price. You're starting to see a bit of momentum to the downside, but it's not strong momentum because it keeps breaking the lows and then retraces. We had this little bit of a push, but after that, immediately moved into a descending type of price action. So for now, still sitting on my hands. I just want to quickly see something here. I'm missing something. I just want to quickly go back, because I keep marking out these areas, but what's happening is I'm marking the areas out and I'm not placing my lines to see my setups. So there was a line that I had to place. So as you can see, this is also another trade that fits my plan 100%. So, I almost missed this because I'm playing through price too quickly. I'm trying to not make the video too long. But this is a trade that fit my plan 100%. So we had a slowdown. We can see the market is still range bound. We are not trending. And this is another leopard setup for me. So I'm willing to take this position with a 1% risk. Let me quickly put it there. Set and forget strategy. Let's quickly put our visual order to the back. And now let's just play through price action. As you can see, another position, beautiful 3% profit. So let me just quickly write that down. And you can see how simple the ways that I trade. I'm not overcomplicating anything. I'm not switching between 3, 4, 5, 6 time frames to look for setups. And this is something that I really teach my community, because, in the 8 years that I've been trading, I've been through so many styles and ways of trading. And I'm not saying that other styles of trading out there is not good, or, that I don't believe in them. Because the first time I got funding, I actually traded a completely different style, support and resistance, moving averages, trend lines. I'm basically just looking for confluence. But when I discovered this style of trading, it really changed everything for me and just simplified everything for me by just trading price action. So let's quickly just mark out these areas, because I don't want to miss another position by clicking through too quickly. So let me just put the lines up. Okay, that one is not so important. Perfect. Let's see what happens next. Sorry guys, played through a bit quick. So anyway, let's get into it. So you can see a nice break of this area I marked out. And, you know, this is another very high probability trade for me, you know, because we have so much liquidity building up in these areas, and I can see that the liquidity has been taken. So I'm now looking for my setup to swing to the downside. So let me quickly place my set and forget and move it to the back. And yeah, so let's see how this plays out. Sorry, I have gone through a little bit quickly, but you can see how quickly it hits take profit. Quickly runs to 3%, beautiful position, beautiful trade, fit my plan, and I'm happy with that trade. So let's carry on playing through price action. Just want to see something. Okay, perfect. I'm going to remove that line now. So we're actually on a nice winning streak, you know, 3 wins in a row. So that's very nice. Before that, we had that 1 loss. We had another win and another loss. But currently, beautiful winning streak, you know. So 9% up just in 3 trades. Of course, we had those losses as well, but we'll calculate all of this right at the end. So just want to see what's happening here. Now, this does not fit my plan. So I'm not going to look at a position there. Guys, I just realized something. This trade over here is entered 7 o'clock on a Friday. So this is a break of one of my rules. I don't take any trades after 6 p.m. on a Friday. So, you know, this one was a beautiful trade, high probability, but I'm going to have to remove that. I just realized that by scrolling back and just checking through the trades. So, yeah, so we're on a 2 trade winning streak at the moment. But I had to remove that because that is a break of one of my rules, and I do not take trades after 5 p.m., 6 p.m. South African time in South Africa. So I don't trade after that. Just the reason being is because I don't want to be caught up in a trade before the market closes. As we can see, building some momentum up. Very nice area there. I want to see what happens with the market when we get to there. I just want to put my line there. And a line there, just to see how the market reacts off of these areas. Yeah, so that's a huge shift, not fitting my plan at all for my setups. So I'm going to sit out on this one. And let me just see the time. Oh, this is the next, this is Friday 23rd. Okay, so we're still fine there. And then we see this nice push in momentum. So we can see a nice push in momentum to the upside, showing us some strong momentum up, but not really, you know, any commitment, because we get that bit of a shift because that is market close for the weekend. So we had momentum before market close, and then that momentum continued on market open on the Monday. So that's nice. Let's quickly see what price gives us next. So it looks like we're starting to trend. My alerts are definitely on to start looking for setups, but nothing really appearing, in the market just reverses completely. So let me just mark out this area. I want to see how we react off of it. Not really any good reactions, nothing fitting my plan, and the market now moves straight to the downside. So anyway, we move down. And let's continue through price action. So we can see we're breaking the lows, retracing, breaking the lows, retracing, not showing me any momentum at all in that direction. So this is a very strong area for me, but one thing that bothers me, I know I took this trade in the live market, is just that it's such a huge range. But you know, what sells me on this position is this descending price action on AU, because usually it reverses to the upside. So this is a valid leopard for me, and you know, I'm willing to take the risk as a 1% trade, even through my back testing. Even though I know this is not going to be a winning trade, I remember this position, but you know, I'm going to take it anyway. It does fit my plan, and unfortunately takes me out for a 1% loss. So let me quickly just note that down, -1. So yeah, so let's carry on through price action. Let's see what happens next. So we are very descending. I'm still expecting price to shoot up, but keeps on moving down. That's what the market does. You cannot predict it. You can forecast possible scenarios which you would be interested in, but you cannot predict price action, and you cannot predict the market, if I can say it that way. We have an edge, we have a plan, we have a style that works, and we just execute on that plan when the setups form. But it's still the market. It can just do whatever it wants to do. And the faster or the sooner you realize that you cannot control the market is not against you, it's not for you. The market is just moving whether you like it or not. It's going to do its own thing, and your job is just to find an edge by trading these markets and just to execute on them, as I just mentioned. Let's quickly see how the market reacts over these areas. I just want to see. So here's a very nice position. This fits my plan. But, looking back at this trade, I remember this, and even now in the live market, it's a very nice and high probability position. The only thing is my stop loss is way too small, and this is such a huge candle. So to be honest, this trade I do not like. I always say I have to make a decision when my stop loss is about halfway through this candle. It's about halfway to this candle, and I just need to make that decision. Is it worth it for me to enter this position? So for me, 50-50 in the live market, I took this trade, but 50-50 now that I'm feeling like, it can so easily just stop me out. I'm just willing to not take this position. So that's a no trade for me because that shift is so big. Maybe if this candle closed around here, I would probably have taken this position just to have a bit of a larger stop loss than having this stop loss over there. So, that's a no trade for me. So let's carry on through price. As you can see, price came up and then went down. So it would probably have worked out, but that shift candle would not have worked out in the way that I enter my leopard setup. But, I was just not willing to take that. I don't like those huge shifts where my stop loss is only like 50% of that candle. So anyway, I sat on my hands on that one, and let's carry on through price. That's the biggest thing when you do backtesting. You need to learn out of, if you feel you made a mistake or you feel that something is not working, you need to learn out of that and make a decision that you can improve on the mistakes you made, or if you figure something new out, you need to improve on those mistakes basically. So we can now see we are on the 1st of June. So that's the end of our backtesting session for the month. So this was the live results. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to say backtesting results. And now we're going to just see how we ended up against how we traded. So that was live, this is backtesting. So let's go back and look at the trades we took. So the month started over here on the 1st. So we had a 3% profit. -1 is 2%. Minus 0.7. So we're in a 1.3% profit currently. 1.3 plus 3, that's 4.3. 4.3 minus 1, that's 3.3. 3.3 plus 3% is 6.3%, plus 3% is 9.3%, minus 1%. So we ended up on 8.3% profit. Let's quickly just mark that out. So we ended up on less than we actually made in the live market. So I just want to quickly see how many trades did I take. Let's just quickly look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trades. So I actually traded more in the backtesting than I traded in the live market. So that was 8 trades, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4 losses and 4 wins. Yeah. 4 losses and 4 wins. So let me quickly just mark that out. 4 losses. Perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is what I usually do at the end of the month is I'm gonna now go and look at the trades in my journal that I took in the live market, and I'm going to compare it by the screenshots and everything to the to the backtesting results. I'm going to see where I slipped up and where I could improve. So yeah, guys, that is basically my month on AU, and that was my backtesting results, and that was my live results. So unfortunately, I ended up with 1% less. I just want to quickly count it just to double check. So that's 3 minus 1 is 2, minus 0.7 is 1.3, 4.3, 3.3, 6.3, 9.3, yeah, 8.3. So we ended up 8.3%. So very similar to the results on the live market, but unfortunately ended up with 1% less, but it's very close. So that's still a very good sign to me. Happy with the backtesting, happy with the month, and just happy with the overall results. So guys, just want to say thank you for watching this YouTube video. If you like this type of content, please let me know. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll post more of these videos if you like them. Otherwise, I will start making some different type of content. But have a great one. I'll see you on the next video.